After his mother's death in Ukraine, a boy named Dima was placed into an orphanage. It was not a great place for a teenage boy. Life was difficult. Then, a miracle. A loving couple from America found him, adopted him, and brought him back to sunny Florida. Robbie and Jennifer Tower, a kind-hearted couple from the U.S., tried to help this broken teenager heal. For 7 years, they loved him like their own, helping him learn English, make friends, and try to get better. But things never did completely heal. And now the boy they rescued is 24 years old and stands accused of brutally murdering the parents who tried to save him. Does the accused killer have any defense? Tonight, we take a look. But first, from California to the plains of Nebraska, the disappearance of 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard has become a race against time. What began as a quiet road trip from Santa Barbara County turned into a mystery that's gripped the nation. Investigators say Ashlee rented a car and drove halfway across the country to Nebraska, but somewhere along the way, Melodee disappeared. Days later, Ashlee was found, and now she's refusing to cooperate. The silence has only deepened suspicion. Then Ashlee was arrested on an unrelated charge, accused of falsely imprisoning an acquaintance who came over her house after Melodee vanished. And today, Ashlee Buzzard was in court on those charges, and we have the very latest from the courtroom and the very latest in the search for Melodee. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And we begin this hour asking the question we've been asking for more than a month. Where is Melodee? Where is this 9-year-old girl who was being raised by a single mom, who went on this wild 3-day road trip with her mom and never returned home? It's a question that seems like it should be simple to answer. It's a question where somebody absolutely knows the answer, but she's not talking. That's Melodee's mom. And this trip they took was a very random road trip. There didn't seem to be any discernible purpose in it. A lot of driving, a lot of miles. You're talking about Santa Barbara, California to Nebraska to Kansas, and then driving back towards California, dipping down into northern Arizona, and then finally returning home. So through all of this, as we've been saying, Mom is saying nothing. Ashlee Buzzard is not speaking about it, whether it's relatives, law enforcement, child protective services, whoever comes over to knock on the door, she's not talking. Now, she did get into some other legal trouble that resulted in her arrest. But that arrest is not directly related to her missing daughter, Melodee. It has nothing to do with where Melodee is or isn't. It has everything to do with someone who came over her house, someone she knew, who then allegedly she did not permit to leave that home. False imprisonment. She was arrested, taken into custody, and then brought in court today. And tonight, we're going to take you inside that courtroom. You can see already from this image, you may not even recognize her without the huge wig that she was seen wearing in surveillance video, or the wig that she wears seemingly all the time. That wig or another wig. That's her. That's Ashlee Buzzard in court today. Let's take a look at what happened.
We're entering a not guilty plea with no time waiver or requesting an assignment as quickly as possible. Her pretrial services report gives a risk assessment of 0. She has no criminal history. She has a local residence. She is not a flight risk. And the allegation in this case is non-serious, non-violence. People?
Thank you, Your Honor. I disagree with defense counsel in terms of Ms. Buzzard's risk of flight. Really tells us the opposite. While it does not pertain to the incident impacting the victim in this case, Ms. Buzzard has been notably uncooperative with law enforcement and child welfare services, pertaining to the disappearance of her daughter, Melodee, that she switched license plates on her vehicle to and from Nebraska. She wore wigs. It's apparent that she has taken lengths to conceal her identity and whereabouts on other occasions. And if she were to be released, that is a concern, on top of the fact that she is non-cooperative with law enforcement. Additionally, with respect to the facts of this case, Mr. Galvan used terms of art, non-serious, non-violent, pursuant to the Penal Code Section 667.5 and 1192.7. But that doesn't make this any less serious or violent to the victim of this case. I understand that there's a distinction, but he fears for his safety. She's currently being held on $100,000, which is a recognition of the aggravation of the facts present before the court. Any release of Ms. Buzzard at this time would be over the people's objection. Thank you.
Okay. This is a felony matter for a person who is not a very young person, no criminal history. There has been fear expressed by the alleged victim in this matter, and the concerns regarding that, I think, can be met with the following. First, ma'am, good morning. Ma'am, you are ordered to have no contact with Tyler S. Brewer. You are not to buy, own, or possess firearms or ammunition. You are not to attempt to dissuade him from testifying or reporting. You're ordered not to harass, molest, annoy, exert coercive control. You're to have no contact. No contact means telephonically, electronically, through a third party other than through your attorney of record. You are to stay 150 yards away from home, workplace, and vehicle, and I've asked the people to provide the appropriate exclusion zone information. Prohibited conduct may be recorded. This is a temporary order during the pendency of this case. What the court was able to see from the brief police report were the limited facts of this case. This is not an investigative detention. This is determining whether or not someone should be released on the charges that have been filed. You're released on supervised release. You are going to be released on GPS. You are ordered to report to pretrial tomorrow. You are to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. You're to comply with the 136.2 order. You are not to possess any weapons, drugs or narcotics. Your matter is assigned for all purposes. There's long vote 1, that's the 19th PXS, 20th prelim.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, may I be heard as to the law terms?
Sure.
I'm also requesting that she be subject to search and seizure. This case did involve the use of a box cutter. And there's not a weapons allegation. It's part of the complaint. I certainly think that there is a nexus and it is appropriate for the court to bring it up.
As I read, possession of a box cutter, but in any case, Mr. Galvan, any comment?
Judge, you can check the no weapons clause. Miss Ashlee Buzzard's home has been searched in excess of 3 times now by search warrant service. I don't believe you need to check the box that waives her Fourth Amendment rights at this point.
Well, I will order you not to possess weapons. Okay, so we have your next date, ma'am, is the 19th. That is next Wednesday. You need to report to pretrial services tomorrow, and you will be getting released on GPS.
She gets released. She is free to go. Interesting to watch the way all this went down because, yeah, I get it, the false imprisonment. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. No reason to not believe the accuser, but like she pulled a box cutter on somebody inside her house. But like the elephant in the room, in that courtroom is, hey, she has a 9-year-old daughter. She's a single mother, and no one has seen the daughter in a month. And the case just continues this way. Why? Let's bring in our think tank. Join us live in studio tonight. Criminal defense attorney, former assistant state attorney in Miami-Dade County, and former assistant DA in Atlanta, and actor, Daryl Cohen. Criminal defense attorney, law professor, Meg Strickler, and criminal defense attorney, the man behind the glasses, Josh Schiffer. It's been a month. She's a single mother. She has a 9-year-old daughter, and no one has seen this girl. She's brought into court, and she's released.
It's shocking to me. I don't understand. Daryl's shaking so much. He's shaking because I don't understand if there's a lot of ifs here. We don't know everything. But if there is some thought of mental illness, and if there is some thought of the 9-year-old literally for real not being, housed somewhere in Colorado or Utah, that we think there has been foul play, find a reason to keep her in jail while we figure things out.
I disagree. Let her go. Last name is what? Buzzard? Drop the bird, please, and see where she goes. Let her alone. Let her not realize she's been under surveillance.
You think she may do something or say something while perhaps under surveillance that will lead them to Melodee?
Would I say such a thing?
She could do that in jail with the jail calls. Thank you very much.
It would have been much easier to do a circling birds analogy because I think that might have been more apropos. Because right now, those ifs, that's the problem. They're all ifs. It's all base rank speculation. Now, is it easy to go, man, I bet she had something to do with that? Yeah. But is there any proof? Is there anything but speculation?
Everyone at home right now is saying, Vinny, what about Lori Daybell? Lori Daybell, the folks from Idaho went all the way to Hawaii to find her, to serve her papers while she's sitting in her bikini poolside next to the prophet Chad, to produce her children. That's not happening here. Why is that not happening here?
They don't have justification to get those paperworks, or if they have, it's been denied. Man, you got to go ask them local yokels, because that's the people that aren't doing their job.
Has visited the house.
I completely disagree. When you don't know where she is and she's been on this meandering trail, then you have to narrow it down. And how do you narrow it down? You have a drone, you have a GPS to see where she's going and keep her under surveillance. You said apropos, this could be Edgar Allan Poe with the blizzard.
It hurts when you work like that, Daryl. Come on now. Now, I will say, I love the idea of setting the public trap with the GPS, because you're right. If she's involved, watching her closely is the best way we're going to find out the answer.
She's the mother. She's the mother. She's the only parent of this child.
Only person this child basically knows, as far as I'm concerned.
I think there is more information in the past that needs to be looked at. Remember, this is a full month. They have her all the way till the line of Colorado or Utah. That part is covered, and that's the last time she's been seen. Now we need to really pinpoint and hone in on all of the technical stuff. Like with
But they haven't found her in a month. If they haven't found her in a month.
It takes time to get all the subpoenas. It takes time. I will give the government some credit. It takes time to get all of that electronic data. It does.
It's like weird day here, because I'm swapping sides against Meg and I'm with Derek. No, it doesn't take that long to get this stuff if you've got good facts. The real problem is there's not good facts. There's a lot of speculation that she should know where her kid is.
Oh,
Because
cut
guess
me a
what?
break. The
You
kid's
should.
missing. The kid's missing. Where is that child? They should be putting all their resources, and I think they are.
Is the existence
it takes time.
who is the existence or the lack of location of a child grounds for a search warrant?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
It's a
Really?
definite-
They,
definite-
they
it's a
searched her
definite
home.
maybe.
And
They
couldn't
searched
find
her home.
anything.
What they
couldn't
have to
find
do
anything, at least
is
as far
let
as
her
we know.
play out what she's doing. It's not going to take a day. Could take a week. Could take a month. Could take 3 months. And at some point,
But aren't there
she's gonna
exigent
crack in some way.
circumstances
Thank
if it's a
you.
9-year-old
Thank
that
you.
is
I'm a
unaccounted
But
for
who-
and could be alive?
Who's got the justification to go inquire into a private citizen's life about the location of their child if they want to keep it confidential? 'Cause
It's a 9-year-old.
They don't want to share information with the government about their children. I'm not saying I agree with it or but from a freedom perspective, I don't like to tell the government about my family. Period. You don't have a right to know where my kid is because my kid hasn't done anything wrong. You can't make a single allegation that I've done anything wrong except have a bad wig and a bunch of weird travel. So there's
No, but
no
we can.
case.
And a
What
box
can I say?
cutter, this woman is not on a trail to do something bad or terrible. She's done it.
Past tense,
And we
yes.
have to figure out
Where's
how.
Here's the
Yeah.
other part of it,
when.
though. All right, let's take a look at some of the evidence. This is a piece of evidence. Like, just the way she looks is a piece of evidence. On the left-hand side, she's got the wig. She had various wigs. Her daughter was placed in a wig. She changed license plates on the rental car that she took. She left with a 9-year-old. She returned without a 9-year-old. Isn't sometimes 2 + 2 = 4? That something wrong, something terrible, perhaps child neglect, child abuse, potentially child trafficking.
But
We hope.
that's
we
not,
hope that's what it is. We hope that child is still alive. My fear is that child is deceased.
It's all still speculation and questioning about some. You don't have anything on. Sure, does it look bad? Yeah. When's the last time we started punishing people using state
But
power
it's been a month.
it
If
looks
it's been a
bad?
day or two, I'd be like, yeah, we got to wonder about this. We got to wonder
Do
about
you have
that.
an affirmative duty to show that your child is present to
Oh,
the government?
heck yeah, because they have to go to school. There are laws
she's
about
not
going
going
to
to
school.
school.
Thank you.
All right, so you pursue it in that way. I'm just saying that it clearly looks like she's involved, but be careful with the due process.
I understand the due process, but
But look at
it's
that.
not
That's
summer
what you need to care about.
vacation.
That
she's,
child.
She's not at camp. She wasn't in school, and that's how the whole thing began, because she allegedly was supposed to be homeschooling her daughter and was not doing the appropriate reporting that is necessary.
And we all know how great those homeschool cases are turning out. The moment I hear homeschool, my heart starts to sink these days.
My word is W and C. Wait and see.
Well, we've got more to talk about, though, because there's more details here. We're going to hear from the victim of this alleged box cutter incident inside the home, what he had to say, what he said he heard, plus coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, she was a former adult film star turned stepmother, and then shockingly a bride to her ex's son. Now she's the accused killer in a twisted love triangle that shattered a family. Did passion turn to murder, or is she being set up by the man she married? Tonight, we investigate.
Mama tried. Now my daddy's crying because I'm in here.
You are the common denominator that led to JD and Big Doug shooting each other in the dark of night.
All right, help party, I'm dying.
Don't you have the blood of both these men on your hands?
I feel guilty for that.
You felt guilty because, frankly, you were guilty.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
We know that Melodee was still with Ashlee on that return trip, as close as the Colorado-Utah border on the Colorado side on October 9th. So this does very much shorten our timeline, our search timeline, as well as the area of the search.
And that's a significant part of everything that's happened here, the shortening of the timeline, because this ride was all the way to Nebraska and down into Kansas. And things may have happened there that are relative to what may have ended up happening to Melodee on this trip. But the search area, you start going west towards the Colorado-Utah border from the 9th to the 10th. So it's really in that area, in those 24 hours and within that travel zone. Now, let's get back to Ashlee's other legal problem, which is this allegation of false imprisonment. And this was someone who she knew beforehand, who came over because Melodee was missing and was talking to Ashlee about it. So it was someone I guess she was friendly with and had some level of an acquaintance with. Here's a statement from that accuser. Tyler Brewer is his name. On November 6th, during an interaction at her residence, the situation escalated. Ms. Buzzard became visibly distressed after sharing information she appeared to regret disclosing. A box cutter was produced, and despite multiple requests to be allowed to exit the home, I was not immediately permitted to leave. The door was secured by several locks, which delayed my ability to exit. This incident was reported to law enforcement. Now, there is more from News Nation. Correspondent Nancy Liu reported on Banfield that Tyler Brewer told her Ashlee had divulged where she took her daughter, Melodee. Take a listen.
Tyler Brewer tells us that he has known Ashlee through a friend since 2014. He's been coming over here to check on her since all of this was publicized. He claims he was told where Melodee was dropped off and who she was left with, but he is not sharing that information with us. Tyler's also concerned that because of Ashlee's mental history and recent behavior, he's not sure that what she told him is actually true.
So this is huge, right? The whole thing is she's not talking to anyone, and now she's apparently talking to Tyler Brewer. Is she telling the truth, not telling the truth? Almost irrelevant. This is like the first time that we've heard about her saying what happened to Melodee. Let's bring back in our live in-studio think tank, Daryl Cohen, Meg Strickler, Josh Schiffer. To me, this is huge, but what does it exactly mean? If, in fact, she is telling this man who is now a victim of hers, or an alleged victim of hers, I dropped her off with someone.
The dynamics got some immediate problems with it because he's her victim. He's also a welfare check person that was apparently concerned with her for years, a decade, and started coming by. So he has some sort of dynamic with her that's complicated. And now he has this mystery information he's refusing to share about the health and safety.
Well, he's not sharing it publicly with us. He may have shared it with law enforcement.
And that, again, gets to what does law enforcement know or not know, and how much speculation can be cleared up with additional investigation.
I go back to, I said, follow the person. Normally I would say, follow the money. Not this time. Follow the person in a very circuitous way.
Do they have her phone tapped right now?
Absolutely.
I don't know. Wiretaps are usually hard to secure. I don't know. But what I think in this case is that let's pretend that
they had it up for a search warrant of her house.
Yeah, wiretaps are harder. I mean, remember that show, The Wire, from 20 years ago? That's how I base my knowledge. I'm being facetious. I do this job all the time. What I'm trying to say, though, is that back when you look at this case and you say, okay, she stashed the child because they're worried about abuse or something like this, because she comes from an abusive background, and perhaps I know the father's dead, but maybe there was like a step friend or something, and I'm making up a story here, and maybe that's why she stashed the kid. All of that would work if it hadn't been 30 days later, and we're all jumping up and down.
What if she's in the midst of a delusion and is leaving the child with some random person?
Or that would be fine, because that random person likely on social media, on regular media.
But that random person does not come forward.
But that's the point. I said would be fine. I think this child is deceased, and I hope I am wrong with every fiber of my body.
I can just see explanations that, while challenging, could be logical. Why?
Like what? After 30 days?
Child was being abused by somebody,
That's what I was trying to say.
Exactly, and is in a safe house now.
But after 30 days, I mean, it's a long time.
We are speculating based on an obscured set of facts. If they had a body, if they had testimony that there was a death, they'd be more aggressive. The fact the state's not being that aggressive shows that they know more than we do.
They may be very aggressive, but quietly aggressive.
Now, what does it tell you if she divulges this information, which she hasn't told to anyone else, and then all of a sudden turns and gets violent, almost to the point of not letting Tyler Brewer leave? And, you know, it was the divulging, perhaps, you know, putting the reporting together here.
How did he get out? How did he leave?
He eventually talked his way out, I'm sure. But the fact that the moment that she changed or turned on him was after giving him this information that no one else had.
The unpredictability and volatility is always something that's just unpredictable and hard in mental health, because you're right. She could snap at a moment if she has that kind of diagnosis. And that goes to what the investigation is. Because if her story's changed, police aren't going to go start busting down doors based on the words of someone who is delusional or suffering from.
But they're the only words that you're getting about where this child could be. I mean, they've been looking for a month.
And also, we keep saying mental illness as a factor here. What I do find interesting, she has no criminal history at all.
Yet.
And if she, but she's 40 years old. If she has schizophrenia, for example, they would have been interactions with law enforcement at some point. If she had any kind of psychotic breaks, there would have been interactions with law enforcement in that scenario too, usually.
And
well,
really,
there was, to some extent, law enforcement was in her house.
For this case, I'm talking about
No, for a prior case. She lost custody of an older child. Melodee's got an older sister. And this is a story that the grandmother told, right? The grandmother spoke to KSBY, Crystal Bermudez. And the grandmother said that she had once gotten a call from a sheriff who was about to take the kids because he's looking around the refrigerator, there's rotten food, and all this goes back in time to when Melodee's father passed away. Well, Melodee was only 6 months old. And that seemed to be the beginning of the decline of Ashlee Buzzard.
Ah, okay. And that kind of shows you, because I did read somewhere that she doesn't even have contact with grandma for the past few years. And that's telling.
And when you get into a kid, so now I'm thinking about medical issues and what can justify secrecy, what can justify confidentiality, why, including confidentiality from law enforcement. If there is that kind of threat, I'm not saying it's likely, I'm just saying the possibility is out there. If the state had more, they'd be more aggressive.
In my experience,
I think they've got a lot. And I believe in the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid, keep it short, stupid, and keep your eyes on the ball, in this case, the defendant.
There wasn't a single bird pun in any of that, Daryl.
I'm so sorry. But where's Edgar Allan when you need him?
Yeah. There is, what I find interesting, though, is that, yes, they know more because they have access to videos that they have not made public, but they're still asking for public's help in this. There is still a girl who is unaccounted for that could be alive. There's no proof of life right now, but there's no proof of death either. I don't believe that if there was proof of death, there may be charges brought against her.
Immediately.
If there was anything found in that rental car that they went through, they would have charged her with something, but they haven't. And it has everyone frustrated and everyone confused, and of course we will continue to cover it right here. Think Tank's not going anywhere. They are being falsely imprisoned in this studio.
With or without a box cutter?
Yeah, without a box cutter. Up next, we're going to talk about a new trial here on Court TV. Young teenager was in an orphanage in the Ukraine. He was brought back to the United States. He is an orphan again because his two adoptive parents have been murdered, and he's the one charged.
We've been driving through on our golf cart, waiting for them to be outside because we didn't want to bother them if they were busy in the house, and kind of regretting not doing that.
August 31st, 2023. A neighbor of Jennifer and Robbie Tower hear a female screaming at her door that she needs help. When she opens the door, nothing was there but a large amount of blood on the front steps.
It is a very, very disturbing scene.
Just kept saying, "You're lying. I don't believe you. This is not happening."
When police arrived, 21-year-old Dima Tower fled from the crime scene, where Jennifer and Robbie were dead inside their home from multiple stab wounds. Tower led police on a high-speed chase before being apprehended. Jennifer and Robbie adopted Dima when he was 14 from Ukraine after a series of mission trips. According to records, Dima has a history of domestic violence dating back to 2018.
They did their best to make everyone feel like family, and that neighborhood is never, ever going to be the same.
Tower faces 2 counts of second-degree murder and has maintained a plea of not guilty.
There's a lot to this young man's backstory. He lived in Ukraine. His mother died, then his father got rid of him, sent him to the orphanage. No one in the family wanted to deal with him. Then as a teenager, you saw that the Towers, this amazing couple for the United States on a mission trip, sees him in an orphanage and decides to bring him back to the United States. And they try their hardest. They're very loving, very forgiving. And in the end, it cost them their lives. And now this, once again, orphan is on trial for the murder of his adoptive parents. Today's opening statement by his attorney. I want you to watch this moment and watch the reaction of the defendant, the accused killer in this case. Take a look.
He came from Ukraine, where he was in foster care prior to coming to this country. He was in foster care, you will hear, because his mother passed away when he was very young, and his family in Ukraine just didn't want to deal with it. So they put him in foster care in a country at war, where he was raised until 2 strangers picked him up and brought him to America. I'm basically a nobody coming from nowhere. That's what Mr. Tower said. This trial is going to be a little bit different. If you're expecting that I'm going to stand here and say that Mr. Tower is not guilty of anything, you would be incorrect. We talked during jury selection about different levels of murder and different levels of homicide.
Let's continue for a moment. Let's see if we can continue.
Sure.
Go ahead, Mr. Gilman.
So the decision that you collectively as a group and individually will have to come to is whether or not Mr. Tower has the ability to fully form the...
It's difficult for, I think,
Sure.
here. Let's take a short break. Members of the jury, can you please leave your notepads turned down here in the courtroom, writing implements on top. Don't discuss anything related to your jury service. You're going to get tired of this, okay? Everybody please stand. Jurors exiting.
All right, jurors exiting.
Okay.
Take a look at. You're really.
All right, we just, everybody may be seated. We just had, I just excused the jury. It got to the point where the defendant, in crying and using Kleenex, was disrupting the jury trial. Mr. Tower, I won't allow that to continue, so take a moment, compose yourself, and we'll get started in about 5 or so minutes, okay? We'll take a short break. I spent time this morning, I thought you were in here, where I instructed those in the audience that they can't show emotion, that there are times during especially a murder trial where the emotion might be high, and that if they're unable to handle it, I need them to remove themselves from the courtroom. I will not allow the jury to be persuaded or interfered with by folks showing that emotion in the courtroom, okay? And that includes you, Mr. Tower. So you need to handle yourself accordingly. If you need to take a break because you feel that the emotion is too high and you're struggling, please bring it to Mr. Gilman's attention and we can take a break, okay? But we can't have any more outbursts like that in front of the jury.
All right, so how much of this trial is going to be about what happened to Robbie and Jennifer when they were brutally killed versus what happened to this young man throughout his entire life.
What I'm hearing is not negation, but mitigation, knowing that he is going to be convicted, being assured he's going to be convicted, and they want the jury to be more lenient on him rather than what the jury probably should do. Look, he came from one hell in Ukraine, and he created another hell in the United States where he now lives.
I agree with Darryl. This is exactly what's going on there. What are you going to do in a case like this? There's not much to work with here, and you got to do what you got to do. And he's trying to argue down from first degree. There's less intent. It's either second or voluntary manslaughter. He's trying. I mean, he's going to do what he's dealing with the cards he's dealt with. And so you have to humanize the defendant always. You have to humanize the story. And so that's what the defense lawyer is doing.
And it's really, we teach it as reframing, because like Darryl said, the facts of the case, I think it's probably pretty strong. They're going to have physical evidence that he committed this horrible act.
Yeah, and he fled.
And he fled. You know, I don't think that's a struggle for the state. So what are you going to do as a defense attorney? And mitigation is a valid exercise. It's just tough in front of a jury, because juries aren't necessarily the ones contemplating sentencing. In fact, they're told by the judge not to consider sentencing, just consider guilt and innocence. Sentencing is for the court, whereas this presentation does get to which charge is appropriate. And it's really a fight against the process through mitigation using this young man's incredibly tragic and sad circumstances. I have had a case where it was the well-intentioned parents getting the most broken child from a broken country, from an orphanarium. And it turned out horrifying. No murder. But these children, the trauma, it's inexplicably horrifying. And what they do with the rest of their lives is unpredictable. It is so sad.
Let me ask you this. What struck me from that piece of the opening statement that we listened to was when he referred to Robbie and Jennifer, who are a couple going on missions, taking on a burden with love, and they were referred to as two strangers picked him up.
Well, that's what we do. I mean, I hate to say it, but we defense lawyers, we come up with words. That's what we use. Yeah. But I'm going to agree with you on this case where, I teach evidence. When you look at evidence in this case, you look at the facts, he's going to lose. But I'm just saying what we defense lawyers, we do what we can do. And that's what they're doing, what they can do. And it's the only thing they can do is to try to I think reframe is a real good word. That's why he said stranger. We put certain words in as we do our crosses.
To me, it's a powerful word because
it's not true.
But that was a chosen word for its impact, because guess what? It landed for everybody that heard it.
Yeah, but it's going to unland. It's going to take back off, because if the state attorney's office does their job, they will make it known these were strangers that did a great thing. They were on a mission. They adopted and brought back a child from hell and tried to reframe his life.
And that feeds directly into what a good defense attorney wants him to do. They're going to go focus on, these aren't strangers. Let's talk about these victims. We're the state. We need vengeance. That may not be the question the jury's asking. The jury may be asking, how with these loving adoptive parents who are giving so much, who saw so much in this child, what happened for him to get to a level to commit this horrible crime? Where's that answer? Because it ain't going to be found in a criminal court.
Here's what I think some jurors may be thinking about. If he's going to do that to his adoptive parents and re-orphan himself, I don't want him walking around the streets of my state, my town, my country. I want him locked up forever.
And that's super valid.
That's what's going to happen.
Super valid.
He's not getting out.
I
don't think
know.
he's getting out. I don't think he's getting out. The way these murders occurred and the time it took was extraordinary and awful.
And he had likely been planning this for some time. This wasn't a spur of the moment. I'm upset. I think the old adage of no good deed goes unpunished. We have two victims that should not be victims.
I don't know, man. With successful mitigation, exploring the trauma that he experienced, it does not justify or excuse anything. It explains it, and that can lead to a lesser punishment over long time.
I think
I
long
don't
time.
think he gets
But
life.
will that be something that the judge considers down the road versus this jury in deciding what to convict him of?
Well, that's the hard part about being a judge.
I think first degree. I think they're going to go first degree. So they look at the evidence and then they listen to the jury charges. That we hope the jurors listen to law. That's what they'll see.
Right.
And they'll convict him of the first degree. I'm pretty convinced on that one.
I can hear in the jury as they're deliberating, one side say, both of them said he's guilty. One side said, that poor child, look what he went through. And the other said, look what he did.
Yep.
So how's
and
this for the question?
The pictures are going to be awful.
Is this the case that is, well, very clearly that's first degree, and the jury goes back and goes, we're going to argue so much, we're going to agree on manslaughter?
No way.
No.
There's
You
no
don't
way.
think that they split the baby?
I'm on the Meg team.
Big thanks. Daryl Cohen, Meg Strickler, Josh Schiffer.
Thank you.
Great to have you back. All right, when we come back, I'll reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, a father is dead, his son and his former lover, now husband and wife, and a web of secrets that ends in blood. Is this a case of manipulation and murder, or the ultimate betrayal between father and son? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
Sunday nights on Court TV. Join us for a night of food, friends, and our favorite legal dramas. It's Order in the Court, and this week we're binge watching Bull. Sundays on Court TV.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Granted bond. That is former NFL superstar receiver Antonio Brown granted $25,000 bail, GPS ankle monitor. He's accused of attempted murder after allegedly firing a weapon at a celebrity boxing match in Miami. A huge development today. His high-profile attorney, Mark Eiglar, said that the arrest affidavit is wrong, that Antonio Brown used his personal firearm, did not take one from a security officer. Let's take a look at what happened in court today.
So I will set a bond. I think an increased bond is warranted. I'm going to deny the state's motion for pretrial detention pending final hearing. Instead of bonds, it will be $25,000. I'm also going to do less house. I don't even know why he needs house arrest, but I understand the state's concern. He's going to.
So don't do it then, Judge.
Pardon me?
So don't put it. I just offered that as an alternative to, but I don't think he needs house arrest. I'd like him to be able to still continue to earn a living and support his family and be able to liberally come to my office.
So I'm going to enter house arrest level 3. So he can work. I'm not going to give him a curfew. At least he'll have the electronic monitor on, so you know he's not a flight risk. You'll know his whereabouts. Don't cut off the monitor because then you'll face additional charges. And the division judge can always readdress the house arrest component.
That's fine, Judge. Thank you.
You have a good lawyer. Listen to what he tells you. Most importantly, stay locally in Miami. If you want to travel, you're going to have to seek permission from the court. Your attorney, Mr. Eiglar, can explain everything to you.
Judge,
Thank you, Mr.
on behalf of Mr. Brown and his family, I'm really grateful. Thank you very much.
Good day. Thank you.
And that's $25,000 plus GPS, Judge?
$25,000 bond plus house arrest level 3. That's GPS roaming.
Obviously, we'll keep an eye on that story as it continues to develop. In the meantime, take a look at your screens right now. We have a child who needs your help. This is Madison Christina Van Collen, just 17 years old, missing out of Rio Grande, New Jersey since November 6th. She may be in the local area. She could be in Atlantic City, Camden, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware. She's got a pierced nose, a tattoo on the inside of her left ankle, and may go by the names Maddie or Madi. If you see her, pick up the phone, 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Middle Township Police Department in New Jersey. Numbers on the screen. Don't go anywhere. If another hour of live true crime, Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.